protein and vitamin A. It is to preserve this valuable food in its most nutritious state that grass drying is employed. Cutting the grass when it is young allows a continuous crop to be harvested throughout the season, and most experienced farmers like to keep the mower chasing the grass. Newly cut grass may have 85% or more moisture content. If the grass is to keep well, this must be reduced to about 8%. The moisture in the blade of the leaf can be removed fairly quickly, but that in the knot and stem is not so easy to deal with. Grass is found to yield its highest food value when the proportion of leaf to stem is at its highest. In other words, the best time to cut the grass is when it is young and fresh. But in this state, 80% of the load carried is water, and so a good deal of energy and labor is needed to bring in the crop from the field. For this reason, many farmers prefer to wilt their grass before taking it to the dryer. This increases the output of the machine, as there is less water for it to remove. If, however, the wilting is carried too far, there may be a serious loss in the food value of the dried product. There goes another load. So the freshly cut grass arrives at the dryer. In this case, a well-known tray dryer. Keeping the dryer fully supplied is the basis of success, because stopping of the plant for lack of material not only wastes time, but makes it difficult to control the temperature. A wet crop loaded on a trailer tends to become matted, and so during the process several teddings of the grass are necessary to ensure evenness of drying, and this is an essential part of the process. The crop is carefully spread on the outside tray. It receives a further forking when it is transferred to the inner section to be finished. Although hand labor is required to do this job, it ensures that the wet material is thoroughly shaken out and that full advantage of the hot gases is taken. Reduced to basic principles, the dryer consists primarily of two adjacent trays. The hot air from the furnace passes through the perforated bottoms of the trays and then through the grass. For complete drying to result, it is important that the grass be thoroughly spread over the surface of the trays. The material in the outer tray is subjected to only a portion of the hot furnace gases and thus becomes only partly dried. It is then transferred to the inner tray to complete the drying. Meanwhile, another load replaces it in the outer tray. An alternative type of machine preferred by many is the pneumatic dryer. Pneumatic and drum dryers operate on a different principle. Instead of tedding the long grass, it is chopped into short lengths and carried along through the machine by a stream of fast-moving air. High temperatures are used, and the drying consequently takes place at a much greater speed. In principle, the pneumatic dryer consists of a chamber which is so shaped as to give a swirling motion to the stream of hot air and gases drawn through the furnace by means of a powerful fan. On entering the dryer, the grass is chopped into short lengths which are picked up by the current of hot air and carried through the dryer towards the outlet. These particles, which have been completely dried during their passage through the dryer, are now sufficiently light to be blown over into the receiver. These particles, however, which have not been completely dried, fall to the bottom of the dryer, where they are returned to the shredder and are again picked up by the airstream. Yet a third class of dryer in use today operates on the conveyor belt principle. The wet grass is fed onto the belt which carries it under a rotating rake. This ensures an even bed of grass which then moves on its way through the drying chamber. Inside the chamber, hot air from the furnace is passed through the slats of the conveyor belt and so through the grass. The conveyor belt continues on its way to eject the now dried grass at the end of the machine. A careful control over the temperature of the gases must be maintained to ensure a first-class product. An experienced operator can judge by hand the dryness of the grass fairly accurately, and there should be no scorching of the leaf. One method of preparing the finished product for storage is by baling. Baling the grass makes for easy handling, especially when it is to be fed at home. And careful stacking of each batch according to its quality is a useful aid to rationing. Alternatively, the grass may be pulverized in a hammer mill to form grass meal. This can be fed to cattle in its natural form, or, if preferred, can be used for the manufacture of grass cubes, which are familiar enough to cattle. So to the heart of the dryer, the furnace. In this case, the heating is supplied by coke. Careful stoking is required to maintain a constant control over the temperature of the gases, which, if too high, are likely to endanger the crop by scorching, or, if too low, will fail to complete the drying. To maintain maximum efficiency, the furnace must be kept free of clinker and ash. An alternative fuel for use in the furnace is oil. This allows immediate firing and the maximum utilization of fuel with no ash or clinker. Moreover, temperature control of the furnace is easily maintained. Also, a useful saving in fuel is effected by one's ability to shut off the oil supply to the burner immediately. An easy replenishment of stocks is facilitated by nearby storage of the oil fuel. The operation of the modern oil burner is comparatively simple and extremely efficient. In this type of burner, the oil is passed along a passage into an atomizing chamber. At the same time, compressed air is forced through the body of the burner and enters the atomizing chamber with a swirling motion, thoroughly mixing with the oil to form a highly combustible spray. After lighting the burner, the oil supply should be adjusted to give a smokeless flame. Apart from conserving fuel, this ensures that the inside of the furnace is kept free from soot. Of comparatively recent birth is the mobile dryer. The machine is taken to the crop and long hauls from the field are thereby avoided. Solid fuel cannot be used with these machines, and a fuel oil trailer, therefore, forms part of the essential equipment. So, with the scientific use of heat, the nourishment of the summer crops may be preserved for the lean days of winter.